The excessive heat warning didn't keep people inside today. Over at Grays Lake, Local 5's Brendan Wynn spoke with park families and Polk County on what they recommend to beat the heat.
Well, even with the wind here at Grays Lake, it remains a muggy 89 degrees, and the heat warnings are still in effect.
With numerous days of excessive heat warnings, it's important to do what you can to beat the heat.
I've got my neighbors and my daughters here with us on a beautiful Sunday day in this warm heat, enjoying some time on the lake and some friendship time.
The Trankham family isn't the only ones trying to stay cool at Grays Lake today.
What are we doing? Just walking out, and every time a cloud goes over the sun and the breeze picks up, we just go like this and it feels great.
Polk County is trying to make these hot summer days a little cooler.
Polk County Emergency Management has activated our extreme temperature plan, and so as a result of that, our community residents have access to cooling centers around the area.
Those cooling centers are able to be found on the Polk County website, and should you find yourself stranded in need of one, DART is offering free rides to the nearest center.
Young children and older adults can be more susceptible to extreme temperatures, and it is summertime, so people want to be outdoors enjoying what the community has to offer.
The dangers of the heat is often something that those in the Midwest may dismiss, but the county shared it's not something to take lightly.
But if it gets into more of a heat stroke situation, that's a medical condition, and we want to encourage people to dial 911 or seek medical assistance as soon as possible. That can be confusion, the inability to sweat. Those are some of the signs of heat stroke, and so seek medical attention right away.
The excessive heat warnings extend till Tuesday, but Polk County wants everyone to stay safe, even when a warning is not in place. In Des Moines, Brandon Wynn, Local 5 News.
It is no secret the hot temperatures mean air conditioners are working overtime. Local 5's JD Snover spoke with experts about simple ways to get the most out of your system.
When it's hot outside,
when it's 105 outside, that demand's there.
Most people just want to stay comfortable inside.
Your AC is running these days almost nonstop.
But at Midwest Comfort, Jordan Stenger says some habits can actually make things worse.
Some homeowners tend to turn it up when they leave for work, maybe 2 or 3 degrees, come home and crank it back down. You're just putting more strain on that AC.
He says consistency is key, and so is airflow. Something as simple as a pet bed blocking a vent can cause problems.
Typically a floor vent is bringing back the warm air from the room, telling it to cool.
And although the heat is already here,
a lot of service calls, especially on extreme hot days, start with an air filter.
It's never too late to check in on key system parts, like your air filter.
If it looks real dirty, or if it's just been a long time, you don't know when the last time you changed it, good time to cycle it for a new one.
Across Des Moines, all the cooling adds up.
Air conditioners use a lot of power.
Mid-American Energy's Jeff Greenwood says heat like this can strain the grid, but Mother Nature is helping out this time around.
We're using a lot of electricity, but we're also generating a lot of electricity through wind,
which also helps keep your bill down.
It doesn't take any fuel to get the wind turbines turning, it's the wind.
And for another cheap way to stay comfortable,
a ceiling fan just takes a fraction of the power that an air conditioner takes.
Now, Stenger says he does expect an uptick in calls over the next week or so it's best to know who you are going to call and what you're looking for in service before something happens. In Des Moines, I'm JD Snover, Local 5 News.
Pella Marching Dutch just days away from performing in the America 250 parade in Washington, D.C. They're the only band from Iowa and were hand-selected by Governor Kim Reynolds. Local 5's Alex Fulton was at the band's last rehearsal.
A quick check of the uniforms and one final sound check. The Pella Marching Dutch practiced playing and marching 1 mile to prepare for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
I think we're a good representation of what a bunch of small-town Iowans can put together and what people in the Midwest what we can really do.
Wednesday, they're headed to Washington, D.C. for the National Independence Day Parade.
We're taking 5 charter buses packed full of kids and chaperones. It's a 20-hour journey there and back.
It wasn't the first time they had to come in for rehearsal on summer break.
We started kind of towards the end of the school year Just a lot of going over the songs and memorizing it, because that's kind of the main thing that we needed to do. And then we had a rehearsal earlier in June.
At the America 250 parade, the band plans to play Stars and Stripes Forever.
This year, rather than the normal 2 songs that we do at Tulip Time, we decided to add Stars and Stripes Forever as a 3rd song, just to give us a little practice.
They'll march from one side of the National Mall to the other, performing in front of thousands.
We're there to do a good job, but we're also there to entertain people and to, just soak up the moments for ourselves too.
There won't be any wooden shoes this time, just plenty of patriotism.
We're excited to take our small Dutch heritage that we have in Pella and take it and show it off in the nation's capital.
In Pella, Alex Fulton, Local 5 News.
Today, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled to uphold birthright citizenship. The justices knocked down President Trump's executive order seeking to restrict it. The court's decision means anyone born in the U.S. is a citizen, even if that child's parents are not. Chief Justice John Roberts says, quote, the framers of the 14th Amendment extended that promise to every freeborn person in this land. We keep that promise today. Here in Iowa, the decision is a sense of relief for some, but immigration advocates say there's still more work to be done. Local 5's J.D. Snover is in studio with more on why local experts say it is a landmark decision.
Yeah, Emily, anytime the President of the United States is challenged in court, it's going to garner attention, of course. And while this decision provides clarity for some, local advocates say uncertainty still remains. For many in the local Latino community,
it's temporary relief.
LULAC's Joe Henry says the ruling lifts some of the anxiety families have been feeling.
This has created a fear amongst those in the Latino community,
especially for those who have built their lives here.
I mean, this is not rocket science.
He says the decision reinforces what many already believe.
We are a country of immigrants. Everybody can trace their families back to coming from another country, except for the indigenous community.
And that idea is rooted in the 14th Amendment.
It clearly follows the Civil War. It speaks to and was ratified in part about whether or not the individuals that were formerly enslaved would be citizens of the U.S.
Immigration attorney Benjamin Bergman says the ruling is a major benchmark.
Moving forward, attorneys will say that there are 2 elements, domiciled here and subject to the jurisdiction of the United States.
He says that second part, being subject to U.S. law, has never really been in doubt.
Because individuals that are not citizens are clearly charged with offenses, have to pay taxes, have to comply with all sorts of laws when they're here.
Instead, Henry says the court made one thing clear moving forward.
That this is not something that's going to change. This is part of the Constitution.
So in a statement, Iowa Attorney General Brenna Bird says she's disappointed in the decision and, quote, today's ruling makes it even more imperative that the federal government and states are allowed to protect their borders against illegal immigration. Now, the ruling means changing birthright citizenship would likely require a long process involving a constitutional amendment. Emily?
It has been 6 days since 2 major earthquakes hit Venezuela. As our Alex Fulton reports, one Iowan from Venezuela holding out hope that her loved one is still out there alive. Alex?
Yeah, that's right, Emily. And this Iowan, Jenny Soli, came to Des Moines from Venezuela 11 years ago. She says it's difficult for anyone who has connections to Venezuela, but it's especially hard for her.
A giant pile of debris was once an apartment building in Caracas, Venezuela.
But
devastating destruction,
very, very bad.
Sent to Jenny Soli. Her loved one, Chantel Daniela Quintero, lived there.
My cousin's daughter is still under the rubble.
20 minutes before the earthquakes, Chantel sent her mom a text saying she was home and was okay.
She was in the 2nd floor of a building, 16th floor building that collapsed.
Nothing from Chantel since.
We don't know if she's alive. We hope so.
Rescue crews from other countries have been searching for survivors.
My family are there in a tent close to the building all this time, day and night, just waiting.
Eating, sleeping, and going to work is difficult for Soli right now.
Since then, it's been like a nightmare.
The hardest part?
for all of us.
is being so far away. Soli has been leaning on her Venezuelan community in Des Moines.
Every time something is happening with Venezuela, I see many people coming out to help, to see how can we help each other.
She hopes she and her family can get closure sometime soon.
Just keep Venezuelan families in your thoughts and prayers because it is devastating.
Soli mentioned that she was very frustrated with the response from the Venezuelan government. She said government officials did not start responding until over 24 hours after the 2 earthquakes. Emily?
Today is July 1st, and a number of new laws are taking effect. One impacts how patients access abortion medication. Local 5's JD Snover joins us in studio with more on what has changed.
Yeah, Emily, patients seeking medication abortions can no longer receive those prescriptions exclusively through telehealth and then the mail. Instead, they must attend an in-person appointment. Supporters call it a safety measure, while opponents argue it creates additional barriers to care they already can't find. When she was pregnant,
6 weeks, most women do not know that they're pregnant by 6 weeks.
Bofield Berry, who works with the Iowa Abortion Access Fund, says she didn't find out until after Iowa's 6-week abortion deadline.
And it took me another 3.5 weeks to even get into in front of a doctor.
So she knows having to go to the doctor's office to receive the medication can be challenging.
We've seen women die because of these abortion bans and because of lack of access to care.
Opponents of the law say requiring an office visit can create additional hurdles.
They are adding travel, time off work, childcare, gas money, lodging, and a delay in healthcare system that is already stretched so thin.
But supporters read the requirements differently.
I mean, these pills are designed to kill babies, and they kill babies.
Chuck Hurley with the Family Leader says in-person visits allow doctors to screen for potential complications before prescribing the medication.
You get a pill in the mail, and you take the pill, and you have an ectopic pregnancy, you're going to either die or be in the emergency room.
And as far as Bofield's timing concerns?
When somebody has sex, they know it. So there's plenty of time to go see a doctor. Plenty of time. What is that, 42 days?
The law is one of several Iowa measures tied to abortion access enacted in recent years, and advocates on both sides of the issue say the debate is far from over, Emily.
Major changes coming to the federal student loan process. These changes could affect those with pre-existing student loans as well as those applying for them. Local 5's Brandon Wynn joins us in studio to break down how some Iowans might be affected. Brandon.
Absolutely right. That's right. Emily, when President Trump signed the Working Families Tax Cut Act this last year, it did more than just change the tax code. The Office of Federal Student Aid reports about $1.7 trillion in student loan debt, and the way those repayments are calculated has now changed. The biggest change coming is the end of the income-based SAVE repayment plan that over 7 million Americans currently are on. People on those plans now have 90 days to switch to the newly introduced payment plans. According to Tim Bacala over at the University of Northern Iowa, this change is having an undesired effect.
What many borrowers are seeing, and we've seen some of this here in students that have come forward, is their monthly repayment is significantly increasing from where it was on SAVE.
The SAVE program was very lenient, with some borrowers eligible for $0 monthly payments, which in part had the effect of increasing the interest on the loan sometimes more than the monthly payment. The Repayment Assistive Program is the replacement for the SAVE program. The RAP takes 1 to 10% of a person's income to calculate monthly payments. While RAP fixes the interest issues of the SAVE plan, it also, according to Bacala, is increasing premiums for those who were on the SAVE plan.
It will probably impact lower income families more significantly because those are the families that are reliant primarily on the federal financial aid resources.
The RAP keeps loan forgiveness similar to the SAVE plan, but extends the timeline on loan forgiveness to 30 years. Another change is in the standard payment plans, which now include longer repayment plans that range from 10 to 25 years. The longer the repayment plan, the lower the monthly payment. Now, the other big changes include limits to the amount of federal aid eligible to some students. For a full breakdown of the new changes and what you need to know either as a former, current, or incoming student, visit weareiowa.com.
Tonight, you can turn those sprinklers back on for some days, but not all the time. Central Iowa Waterworks announced today they are lifting the lawn watering ban. Local 5's Alex Fulton is in West Des Moines with what you need to know.
Central Iowa Waterworks is moving from Stage 3 to Stage 2 of the water use plan. That means there are new rules, but no lawn watering ban.
Lawn watering is now okay on certain days of the week.
This is good news.
Central Iowa Waterworks leaders talked about it at a press conference.
Just because you can water your lawn, should you? You likely do not need to water your lawn all 3 of the 3 days.
Residents with even-numbered addresses can water on Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It's Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for those with odd-numbered ones. No watering is allowed on Mondays.
This is a real important day to celebrate because so many people chose to do the right thing.
Commercial and government customers can't water at all.
It's important to remember that we are still in Stage 2 of the water use plan. The goal is to reduce water usage by 50%.
Public data shows nitrate levels in the Des Moines and Raccoon rivers is going down. That plus residents following the watering ban is why they're rolling back restrictions.
I can tell you in Clive, residents and businesses, over 99% of the people who were irrigating obeyed the ban and did the right thing because they understand how important it is to protect our source waters.
It'll take more work to get to the point of zero restrictions, so leaders are saying don't let up.
We must still conserve water and think about the impact our water use habits have on our community. This is our new normal. Water conservation must become a way of life.
The lawn watering ban was issued on June 8th. It did not even last a month. That is shorter than last year's ban, which lasted about a month and a half. In West Des Moines, Alex Fulton, Local 5 News. Iowa's budget outlook could become a talking point in this year's governor's race. A new report projects another $1 billion deficit, even as the state maintains sizable reserve funds. Local 5's J.D. Snover looks at what it could mean moving forward.
For the second year in a row, Iowa will operate on an over $1 billion budget deficit, but one analyst says it's not quite time for concern, though it is an issue you will probably hear about on the campaign trail this year.
$1.2 billion.
I don't see any imminent issue for Iowa right now.
That's the projected gap between state revenue and spending in the upcoming fiscal year, which started yesterday, according to a new report from the Common Sense Institute of Iowa and Ben Murray.
There's a revenue line and there's a spending line. And as long as the revenue line crosses back over the spending line before our reserves run out, there's nothing to worry about.
And with over $4 billion in reserve funds, Murray says,
that gives us, a 4-year runway where we don't even have to really worry about it.
And so it's about what comes next.
What we do in the next 4 years matters a lot.
So as candidates jockey to become Iowa's next governor, state finances could become part of the conversation.
As far as whether the voters care about it, it's a little bit yes, a little bit no on those sorts of things.
University of Iowa political science professor Tim Hagel says it may not decide the election as a whole, but it could be used as a line of attack.
Well, what's Lane's plan along those lines? What is he going to maintain what the Reynolds administration did? If so, is he still going to have a deficit spending kind of thing, or how is he going to fix that situation?
And Democrat Rob Sand will likely face questions of his own.
If you don't like the deficit, how are you going to fix it? Are you going to raise taxes? Are you going to cut spending? And so those are the kinds of details that voters might want to know.
In Des Moines, I'm J.D. Snover, Local 5 News.
Starbucks Drive-In is now speaking out after a fire deemed their business a total loss. Local 5's Brandon Wynn joins us in studio to share with us how the community is responding. Brandon.
Yeah, Alex, that's right. For the Nevada community, the Starbucks Drive-In is as Nevada as it gets. So when the business caught on fire, neighbors knew they needed to take action. A storm rolled in today over Starbucks fast food drive-in. Not the first storm it's faced this week.
I was just hoping it was something small, and it wasn't.
at all. So it was very emotional.
The owner of Starbucks, Ann Sayer, was devastated when she heard that her 70-year-old business had caught fire.
It's the heart of our town. We've had people from Alabama to New York to Washington all reach out and say we've been there when we come back to visit.
Nevada Mayor Ryan Condon grew up near Nevada, so he also knows what the loss means to the community.
All of a sudden I started getting phone calls that night saying Starbucks was on fire. Right away everybody really worried. How bad was it? Is it going to be open?
For Sayer, it's not the first storm she's faced recently. Owner and Sayer's wife Shelley Tiffany passed away last fall.
Really kind of hard, and it's overwhelming. And then when everybody stepped up like this, it just makes you want to cry.
The building was without insurance due to pending repairs and because the ownership was in the process of being transferred to Sayer after Tiffany's death. But after every storm comes the sun.
We're not going to let a random fire in June on a Tuesday ruin the history of our Starbucks in our town.
That's right.
Countless community members called to make sure Starbucks can have the sun shine on it one more time.
Makes you wish Shelley was still here with us to enjoy it, you know, the new building and everything when it gets built.
Now, the city is in the process of finding ways to fundraise for Starbucks. They say as those details are finalized, they will share with the public how those who wish to support can contribute. Alex.